Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about everything I read in March, which ended up being 25 different things, I know, which is insane. If you've been sticking around this month, you'll know that I did a bunch of challenges, and throughout spring break, my goal was to not doom scroll, and so I was just reading. So much reading. I did a 48-hour readathon, a 12-hour readathon, and then I did a challenge where I read 10 books in 10 days, and so that is how a majority of these books got read. This video has the potential to be like hours and hours long, so I will try to hurry up because it's a lot of books. First up, we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. I like this book. I do not think it's one of her better ones. I read it and I was like, okay, that's good. I gave it 4 stars. I read The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon at the beginning of the month, and I thought it was really well done. It's a historical fiction book, but it has elements of just literary fiction, and it has a mystery in it. And once mystery gets added to the mix, I'm almost always invested. Did get the 3 Freida McFadden books this month, and this one is like on the lower end, I would say, The Locked Door. I was just disappointed in this so much. I felt like the plot and the characters and the whodunit was just not well done. Like, it was rushed. The pacing was just super bad. I was reading this and I was uninterested in it. I think I gave this like a 3-star or a 3.25. So not her best work, but I did have better Freida McFadden books in this pile. Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is the first book in my life that I've like reread. I think I might have reread like Harry Potter when I was in high school, but that's not counting because I said it doesn't. This is Beach Read, and this is the first book that I ever reread. I read this 4 years ago when I was a sophomore in high school, and now I'm a sophomore in college, so I was like, will my rating go up? Will it go down? And guess what? It stayed the same, but luckily for different reasons. I felt like the first time around, I was just like, oh, January and Gus are so cute. But now when I read it, I just see so much of Emily Henry's literary work shining through. The way she writes is just amazing. Like, I'm hooked. I'm reading about something that I usually wouldn't condone, and I felt sympathy for this character. I would say pick this up. Read my first ever dark romance on the last day of the month. It was Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I gave this a 3.75 star, and some people might think low. I didn't give it a low-ish rating because it's a dark romance. I just felt like this story and our main characters aren't ones that will stick with me. Like, they didn't really change anything within me. I'm excited to read another dark romance. I was thinking maybe Rena Kent whenever I'm off my book buying van. Let me know other dark romances that you'd maybe want to see me read. I finally got around to Project Hail Mary. I did like this. I gave this a 3.75, but since I didn't relate to it or see like topics and theme, which I think are important to include in any book, I just didn't feel connected enough, and that's why it did lose like a few stars, but still amazing. I watched the movie and oh my goodness, was it amazing. In my opinion, I felt like the movie adaptation was better for me just because I'm not sciencey, I'm not astronauty. It's really good. It is really cool that we have 2 forms of media for this book now. Obviously, the book will always be the original, but the movie is amazing, like so good. And I just love Rocky so much. Seeing him on the screen made my heart hurt and happy for him all over again times 10. Picked up Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher from the library. After reading I don't know what it's called. It's Fine Print, Terms and Conditions, and Final Offer. I really didn't like it. I read them when I was in high school, I think, so it's been a little while, but I remember just thinking, like, Declan is so mean. Could he not have been a little nicer to Iris? I loved Julian and Dahlia, although he's kind of like, you know, a man's man. Like, the way he loved her down was amazing, and he was a yearner, which is what I always like. This was a 3.75 star read, and I really enjoyed my time with it. I got First Time Caller, not thinking much of it, but I actually really liked the story. I had never heard of a book that's kind of like this one. Gave this a 4 star. It's really good. I want to read something else from BK Morrison because I know that they have a lot of books, so maybe soon. Lightlark by Alex Astor. If you've been here a while, you'll know how I feel about this. I felt like the first book had potential to be good, but the problem that was in every single book is nothing would happen for the first 300 pages, and then all the action started in the final like 100 to 50, and I don't like that. I would prefer something with more consistency because that just makes me not care for your book or your main characters. Honestly, at this point, I'm just ready to return this to the library. I'm so happy that I didn't actually purchase these books and that they're from the library, or else
they would have to be sold.
I would recommend people don't read this. Like, obviously this is my personal opinion, and if you've liked it or if you want to read it or if you have it, you should, but I would say don't waste your time on this. There's just so much other fantasy series that do what this didn't even get close to doing. I would not, I don't know what to give this rating because it's so bad, but I don't want to give a series a 1 star or 2 stars, so this is getting a 2.75 star, which in my books is not good. Oh my goodness, I read Love on the Brain by Hazelwood. I don't know why I pushed this off for so long. Not even so long, it was like a month or so, but I love this down. I read this literally like 2 days ago and I loved it. I thought it was so good. Not only do we care about our main characters, B and Levi, the way that this man yearned for her was special to me. This should be the standard. Mr. Levi Ward, you should be the standard, okay? Apart from that though, I like how always in her books, Hazelwood will kind of tackle another topic, and in this book, it was in fact the topic of standardized testing and how we all hate it and how it's not fair and how it's expensive. And so she has this little side quip thing where our main character actually runs a really famous Twitter account, and I just thought it was well-rounded. And then in the final like 5 chapters, there was like a mystery aspect of it, and there was like a fight, and I was like, I'm down for the ride. I think this might be in my top 3 of Hazelwood books now. I gave this a 4.25. If you like romance, I would say read this and come back here and tell me what you thought, because I want to continue to talk about this book. Apart from novels, I did read 1 comic book and 3 mangas. The manga I read was Jujutsu Kaisen by Gege Akutami. The anime is already in my top 5, and this manga is done so well. You know, sometimes you'll watch an anime and the manga won't be like as good or what you expected. I feel like this is the complete opposite of that. Some things that used to make me feel so stupid because I didn't understand are all making sense now, and that's a nice feeling. So whenever I do end up watching season 3, which is whenever it's done because I get too impatient, I'll be understanding more about it because of the manga, which I will continue to read. It's right here on my shelf. I have a lot of them, so I need to continue to read more of them into April. The comic that I read is Palestine by Joe Sacco. Randomly went to the library and I found this. As soon as I saw it, I wanted to read more on Palestine, and this does a really good job of giving you info all while like still being a comic. Like, it is just illustrations with words, but there's a lot of words in it, so you're still learning a lot of that history. A really amazing read. One of my goals for the month of March was to read a wide variety of genres, and so I thought that it would be good for me to read a literary fiction. I read 2, and this first one I unfortunately just didn't like. It was Good Dirt by Charmaine Wilkerson. I just felt like the writing and the plot in this lost me. I just got so bored. The thing about this book though is that it was in like a lot of different points of views, which can sometimes be okay, but it was just too overwhelming. We had a point of view from her brother, we had obviously her ex's new girlfriend, her mom, her dad, like so many not random people, but people I just didn't care about. I just wanted to read about our main character, Ebby. Like, she's our girl. It dragged on and I just didn't feel interested. I gave this a 3 star. On the final day of my 10 books in 10 days, though, I read my second literary fiction, which is Blue Sisters by Coco Melors. This was good. I really liked it. It follows 4 sisters, the Blue Sisters, except the one who was kind of the glue. Nikki passed away a year ago, so we're set a year later, and we see how each of the 3 remaining sisters are kind of dealing with their issues, what they're resorting to make themselves feel better. The oldest sister in this book made me so mad. I was literally like, I was angry. I read this while I was like in my sister's room, and she was like, girl, what's happening? Because I was furious, and I told her, and she's like, oh yeah, we don't like her. But that's okay, because that's kind of the reason I like this book. If you like if you like a little bit of a mess, this is good. I felt like as a literary fiction, it kept my attention, which is what most literary fictions fail to do. I gave this a 4.25 stars. I really liked it. This is like the mid-tier Freida McFadden book I read this month. The Teacher by her. I personally liked it. I know a lot of people kind of shy away from it because it does have a weird topic, so check the trigger warnings for The Teacher. But still, I felt like the story was really entertaining. Like, I wanted to know what happened. I didn't really want to put it down. So it served its purpose. I read this during my 48-hour readathon, and thrillers and Freida McFadden are always a good pick for that. I gave this a 3.5 star. Also during my 48-hour readathon, I got to The Bright Test by Helen Hoang. I thought this was pretty good, honestly. I gave this a 3.75 star. I liked how our main characters weren't like your usual main characters. Kai has autism and Esme is an immigrant from Vietnam, so I was just rooting for them. I wanted the best for both, and I wanted them to get together because even though they both had their issues, they were still like kind of low-key perfect for each other. together, and I thought it was cute. I liked it. The third Emily Henry book I read this month is Great Big Beautiful Life. You might be wondering, why are you reading so much Emily Henry's? I read Happy Place and Great Big Beautiful Life so that I had read all of them, and Beach Read was so long ago. I want to do a ranking of all of her books from my favorite to my least favorite, so I just wanted to finish out all of her books, and so I did that. Great Big Beautiful Life was something I read at the beginning of the month, and it was really good. I liked it. I don't know why people dislike it, and I hear so many people crap on it and say that it's their least favorite from her. I disagree. There's 2 other books that I would place, maybe 3 other books that I would place below this. The only thing I would say though is I wish that we had gotten more on Hayden. Like, I understand by the end we did discover a few more things, but like, what made him him? We find out a little bit about his backstory, but I want to know more about like Hayden himself. Aside from that, I liked Margaret's side story. Like, if you're messy like I am, you will most probably like Margaret's side story. I thought it was good. I was interested. I gave this a 4-star. I did really enjoy my time reading this. Now, this is definitely the favorite of all the Freida McFadden books I read this month, Ward D. I think this is just done so amazingly. Like, I picked this up from the library and I read it the same day. I was literally in the car. I was the passenger. I wasn't driving, okay? I was in the car and I was reading this, and by the time I got home from the library and a few other errands, I was already 100 pages in. Then I literally got in my bed and finished the book. This was so good. I'll read what the book is about in case you're interested, because this, I think, might be my second favorite Freida McFadden book. Yes. It says, all she has to do is make it through the night shift. Ward D is the hospital's mental health unit, and as a medical student, Amy is required to gain experience on the floor. But little do her colleagues know, it may force her to confront a past she's fought hard to forget. The night starts. The countdown begins. As the hours tick by, Amy grows increasingly convinced something terrible is happening within the ward's tightly secured walls. When patients and staff start to vanish without a trace, it becomes clear that everyone on this unit is in grave danger. Amy never wanted to spend the night on Ward D. Now, she might not make it out alive. This book was so tea. The only other Freida McFadden book that I like more than this is The Boyfriend, and I don't think that one will ever be dethroned. Like, I think that will forever be my favorite. I did, however, read this, and from the beginning, I knew that it was like one of her better books. The plot was so interesting. I was like eating it up. I loved it. It was amazing. This was a 4.25 star book, and once again, I loved it. Saved my favorite book for last, and it is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Freida McFadden. This was so good. I read this during my 12-hour readathon, and it's a thicker book, and the text is also like super duper tiny, and I was scared, but as soon as I started it, it reminded me of why I loved Ace of Spades so much. I picked this book up because I was talking about Ace of Spades on my TikTok, and someone was like, oh my gosh, did you know that she has a second book? And I didn't. So I went to Barnes and I picked it up the next day, and then I read it in my 12-hour readathon. Thank you to that person. I can't find their comment, but they did something special because this is a 4.5 star read. I love this down. I will say there's some iffy pacing in the plot, but I just felt like her writing was so good that I didn't mind it. I can turn a blind eye to it. We follow our main character Sade, and she has grown up secluded her whole life. She's never been to school before, but then finally something happens and she can go to school. So she ends up enrolling in a boarding school, and literally by her second day there, her roommate is missing and no one cares, not even the staff, not even the teachers. Every character in this book has secrets, including our main character. It's a young adult, it's a mystery, it has a big cast, it has romance, literally everything that makes me obsessed with the book, and this just did that exactly. I want so many people to read this, and the thing I love about Freida and her writing and her books and her characters is that there's so many POC characters. It's not just like one black person. There's so many of her characters that are diverse, that look different, that act different, and that is what also really makes me love her as an author. So this is most definitely my favorite read of the month. I nearly forgot, there is one book that I ended up reading on an e-reader that I was borrowing at the time, but it's Broken Throne by Victoria Aveyard. It's kind of like a book after the series that follows some of the stories we didn't really get to dive into, and even our main characters, how they live their lives after our main series ends. It was okay. Like, I just wanted to finish out the series. Nothing special or really good about it, I would say. It was a 3-star. Alright, so that is everything I read this month. A very insane amount of reading. I don't think I'll ever read 25 books and mangas and comics again in
ever
in my life ever. But it was definitely an amazing experience to get to so much reading. Let me know if you have any questions, if you've read any of these books, if you have some challenges in mind that you'd like to see me do. I definitely have something coming up in April, so make sure you stay tuned. Hopefully I can make a full-length video for you guys, but if not, my shorts are always like super updated. I'll try and post every single day on shorts, so have no fear because you will be seeing me this month. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.